The Council now proceeds to the second session. Members who wish to speak in this session, please press the Request to Speak button. The debate themes of this session are accelerating the development of the Northern Metropolis, industry development and reform, integrate into the overall national development, consolidate Hong Kong's status as an international hub. 1. Financial and trade. The policy areas covered in this session have been set out in the script for members' easy reference. Mr. Tony Jie. Thank you. July last year, I was in charge of my third motion, members' motion of this term. It is in relation to changing the tenancy system in Hong Kong. In July this year, I made some proposals to the chief executive when he consulted about the policy address. Once again, I made these two proposals to expedite the development of the Northern Metropolis. I'm glad that the majority of my proposals have been adopted and incorporated into the policy address this year. It's beyond doubt that the development of the Northern Metropolis is important to Hong Kong, but we have to have an innovative approach to expedite development. We need to encourage more private participation. And in a policy address, there is a proposal that the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis, headed by the Chief Executive, will have 3 working groups set up under it. They will work on strengthening policies, stepping up policy innovations, and coordination. There will be different public-private partnership financing options covering bonds, equity, government injection on the development of different areas. These are to attract private participation. They deserve our support. There will also be flexible arrangements of land grant, and they will be for diversified development mode and new development model. Apart from tender, open tender, there may be restrictive tender or direct land grant. In relation to development, we draw reference from the 1.5 level development concept of the mainland and have a phased development approach with different models. These echo with what I have in mind. I'll support them. But if we are to efficiently implement these new initiatives, we need to reform departments and bureaus because the mentality is rather calcified. They stick to rules and regulations, ignoring results. I expect that the reform will dovetail with the strengthening of civil service appraisal system as well as the HOD accountability system so that the entire civil service will be mobilized to devote their efforts to the development of the Northern Metropolis. There are concerns that direct grant may cause conflicts. My idea is that the government should not avoid taking this approach because of potential or just alluded accusations of collusion of in transfer of interest. What's important is to enhance transparency, to better explain to the public and to the LegCo, to give full explanation about the grounds, justification, as well as the merits of the approach. The Working Group on Planning and Construction of the University Town emphasizes that education, talent, and technology will be integrated in development. My group advocates the development of University Town, and other measures also echo the initiatives of this working group that includes a study in Hong Kong. I think that development of industries will boost the development in Hong Kong. But as to which industries or what advantage we can create in the short term to attract capital and talent is a different matter. We have 5 of the top 100 universities in Hong Kong. The US has launched measures to reduce the number of overseas students in their country. This is an opportunity for us. But we must bear in mind that the university town in the northern metropolis is not just to attract more students. We have to dovetail it with development of innovation and technology projects and industries. In terms of capital works expenditure, on top of the 120 billion, there will be another 30 billion added to the expenditure. This will help to the relevant sectors, say for example accountancy as well as professionals. As to how to make use of the $30 billion, I encourage different sectors to give their views. In terms of resource allocation, please do not be lopsided towards major corporations. Make sure that companies of different sizes have a chance to participate. I so submit. Mr. Stephen Ho. I speak in support of the policy address. Many members have talked about their proposals being adopted by the government. I have not kept track, but I see that the policies on agri and fish of the government have been doing better and better. I thank the government as well as Mr. Chechin-wan, the secretary. Agriculture and fish is an important part to ensure national security. In some countries, they are seen as key industries. In the future, there is a possibility that a war will be started to fight for clean water. So protecting agriculture and fisheries is important. But at this time, how do we ensure development of the sectors? How do we ensure sustainability for the sectors? Our government has done some work. I would like to talk about the Sustainable Development Blueprint of Agriculture and Fisheries. We talked about leisure, farms, fisheries, urban farming, and a number of other initiatives. They are targeted. But my suggestion to the government is that we need to make use of our sectors to contribute to national development. We see products from different provinces. Say, for example, some from Ningxia. They make use of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge to deliver fresh produce. But how do we set GBA standards for this sector? I asked the government to spend some time to look into it. They also need to look at better use of farms and vegetable and fish markets. Some people say that after 10 o'clock, the footfall is low. I asked the AFCD and the EEB to step up their work. They can turn these locations into tourist attractions. But you need to make sure that practitioners can be a part of it. We may not see eye to eye with some initiatives on agriculture and fish with the government, but I think the government needs to look at problems and try to handle them directly. In terms of urban farming, we see that, some farmers have been displaced, but there is one urban farming program, making use of green greenbelt sites as urban farms. So when we have development, we can also enable agriculture to develop as well. This involves a change of mindset. The legislation for agriculture and fisheries is rather outdated. There is this case about an island, an outlying island. There was this project involving a crane, but there are difficulties. The legislation is so outdated that new technology and equipment will not conform with the existing legislation. And if you need to make changes, it will not be cost effective. So please don't wait until there is a problem before you take action. We have a very vigorous system for scrutiny of legislation. Just like the bill under the Development Bureau, it's taken quite some time for it to be completed. So we need to accord priority on issues like unmanned underwater vessels, coral. In Shandong, there is a vessel manned by 6 people. It's a floating fish pond, but we don't know whether it will be legal in Hong Kong. So we seriously lag behind. The EEB can work with relevant departments to take forward these initiatives. I thank Ms. Benedict Ling for taking forward some initiatives relating to these sectors. Pet economy. In the policy address, we find only one point, that is in relation to allowing pets in certain restaurants and eateries. But I don't, actually there are some restrictions. The pets are not allowed in hot pot restaurants or some other restaurants. So we have to consider the relationship of different businesses. Say, for example, leisure activities and travel. Say, for example, when someone's traveling, who will take care of their pets? I want to talk about pet food. I mentioned in a panel that we rely on the trade description ordinance to make sure that the item conforms with the law. Where there are problems, we have to go to the Customs and Excise Department. But in the mainland and in the US, there are dedicated departments in charge of that. In the mainland, they have a thriving sector. That's why they have dedicated units. In the US, they have FDA. They have the Food and Drugs Administration. So how do we deal with this? Is it just will we change the portfolio to the AFCD? Currently, it's under the portfolio of the CNE department. It's not ideal. There are problems with some food, and the way it's handled is not ideal. So if you want to develop this industry, you will have to do more. Lastly, I thank the SAR government for their work in the Sustainable Development Blueprint. It meets our aspirations. I expect that there will be some progress in every policy address. I also want to talk about the Sustainable Fund for Agriculture and Fisheries. Well, there are pilot schemes. It's very difficult for successful projects to obtain financing. Perhaps you need to talk to the financial system, or you can improve the fund system in Hong Kong. We can't just rely on the $200,000 from the Kadoorie farm, because you may as well go to get a loan from loan sharks. Our laws are outdated. Management's outdated. It doesn't meet our need.
Professor William Wong. President, this is the closing year of the 14th five-year plan. The central authorities have provided express support to Hong Kong in the development of the 8 centers. In recent years, the SAR government has been sparing no efforts in taking forward the development of these centers. Take the International I&T Center as an example. According to the latest Global Innovation Index promulgated by WIPO, the Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Guangzhou I&T cluster for the first time was ranked the first around the world, and Hong Kong itself ranked the 15th place. And in recent years, Hong Kong has actively attracted talents. According to the World Talents Ranking 2025, Hong Kong's ranking has jumped to the 4th place, which is the first in Asia. The result is encouraging. However, there are 3 major challenges in I&T development, such as insufficient land and low rate of commercialization of R&D results, as well as inadequacies in the IP trading system. Now, to tackle these challenges, the policy address has come up with some initiatives. First, on the issue of land, the government has strived to remove obstacles for the development of the Northern Metropolis, and yet more should be done. Now this year, the policy address has announced that the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis will be established. It will be chaired personally by the Chief Executive. In order to show resolve of the government in removing barriers and easing restrictions, this echoes the central authorities' idea of reforms. I hope that under the leadership of the Chief Executive and the department secretaries, we can remove barriers and speed up development. Now, the government rolled out the Inno-Hong Kong platforms, but there is still more to be desired. According to the Global Innovation Index in 2025, in terms of investments in innovation, Hong Kong ranked the 8th place. But in terms of innovative output, we rank only the 22nd place, and that is because of more being desired for R&D commercialization. The policy address also proposes a talent exchange scheme for I&T sector so that we can enlist the support of R&D institutions and the academia. At the moment, these institutions, universities, and R&D centers work independently. There is a lack of a uniform platform for commercialization of R&D results. Now, I suggest a platform be set up, ideally within the university town of the Northern Metropolis, so as to foster collaboration between the academia and the industries, and that we can build a base for commercializing R&D results. This will inject impetus in our economic growth. Now, the I&T Support Center of the Hong Kong Productivity Council will be commissioned in the end of this year, and the policy address has also proposed a 2-year pilot program. And that is, subsidies will be provided for the valuation of patents for financing consideration. I think this center should further clarify the ownership of IP assets so as to offer protection to research teams, investors, and to ensure reasonable return of for investors and corporations. Now, in Hung Shui Kiu Ha-Chun NDA, there will be a cooperation platform set up with Tianhai to provide, and that there will also be establishment of the I&P Trading Center, and that legal and professional services will be provided. Next, I'd like to talk about the government's efforts in promoting AI. Last year, I put forward to the Chief Executive a submission on the promotion of AI Plus I made a number of suggestions which have been accepted. For example, the establishment of the AI R&D Institute and the relevant committee. The policy address this year has proposed the setting up of an AI advocacy enhancement team. It will coordinate reform among government departments. This will not only enhance efficiency of government departments, it can also set an example for the business sector. However, in terms of promoting AI, there is still a lack of a central mechanism and a comprehensive development strategy. The AI advocacy enhancement team focuses on the use of AI among government departments. It doesn't cover the entire Hong Kong. When it comes to AI development, we should draw reference from South Korea and Singapore. A dedicated authority should be established to take forward development of AI, including the training of talents, development plans, and strategies. In August this year, the State Council published an opinion document on deepening the implementation of AI. It proposes 6 major areas of application and development milestones for our country to migrate towards a smart society and smart economy. And that an academic committee comprising international experts and mainland experts will be set up. They will set short, medium to long-term goals that dovetail with the country's need and strategy on application of AI. It will also enhance the efficiency and have AI incorporated in the mechanism. The next step is to promote deep integration between policy formulation and industrial application. This will begin with public works and other administration services such as public healthcare, social welfare, etc. And that a vertical LLM will be used to enhance efficiency and reduce manpower and costs and overheads. All in all, AI is reshaping global landscape. We enjoy the unique advantages of one country, two systems. We have good R&D capability. We also have influence in the global community. So it will be crucial for us to take forward AI. For our country, it has established a goal. By 2035, a strong INT nation will be built, and that is why we must work harder to developing an international INT center in Hong Kong, so as to contribute to our country's development plan. I so submit Dr. Chow Man Kwong. I'd like to speak on a number of areas: finance, trade, as well as Northern Metropolis. Starting from 2024, our country has rolled out a number of measures to support Hong Kong's financial market. The SAR government, likewise, also rolled out various measures to support the financial market as well as the property market. Through multi-pronged measures, we've seen prices going up again, especially for home rentals as well. The level has reached the pre-pandemic level, and the stock market is now buoyant. And people are happy with the returns in their MPF accounts. This can help boost domestic consumption and economic recovery in Hong Kong. In the second term of Donald Trump's presidency in 2025, there have been more and more grievances against the U.S. policy on China, and that is an opportunity for us to attract China concept stocks to come to Hong Kong for secondary listing or dual listing. And the third policy address, as proposed this year, inviting China concept stocks to be listed in Hong Kong and as a premier destination. And in the long run, Hong Kong stock market should be the premium location for China tech firms to be listed. As for the new capital investment entrance scheme, the transaction price threshold will be lowered from $50 million to $30 million. I think this is conducive to attracting more portfolios to invest in Hong Kong. This can also provide a boost to the prices of medium to high price range flats on the premise that there will be no impact or limited impact on mass market flats. The policy address also proposes injecting $1.43 billion in Bud Fund to expand the coverage of geographical locations, including Belt and Road countries. The government should continue to incentivize SMEs to undergo digital transformation and leverage on AI so that we can continue to enhance our competitiveness and make breakthroughs. The university town of Northern Metropolis, as we all know, is crucial to the future generations of Hong Kong. Now, this policy address is bold in taking forward breakthroughs. In terms of the development model and land grant approach, etc., a new approach will be taken to take forward the development of Northern Metropolis. I'm sure that this will expedite the development of the university town as well. Now, G19 and myself have always been championing the same. Last month, together with Ms. Chen Yuk-ming, we published a 100-page research report. We analyzed experience in different jurisdictions, and that the government should take the lead in developing the university town first. We welcome the establishment of the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis proposed in the policy address. There will also be 3 working groups set up, one of which relates to the planning and construction of the university town. It shows that the government attaches great importance to the development of this university town. I hope that a platform can be set up and that we can join hands with other prestigious institutions and make Hong Kong an international education hub. I so submit. Dr. Tan Yue-heng. Thank you, Deputy President. I'd like to speak on the development of an international financial center in Hong Kong. I'd like to make a number of suggestions as well. I support the policy address. Now, this year, the policy address proposes grasping the opportunities of asset allocation shuffle by global investors, and we should continue to consolidate the stock market and build a world-class bond market, as well as bring vibrancy to the currency market. We should also expedite the development of new growth points to promote international gold trading market, as well as green and sustainable finance. There are structural shortcomings in the local financial market. However, we should be able to provide diverse tea product choices for international investors so as to enhance the depth of our market, the breadth as well as attractiveness to international investors. On gold trading, we should also grasp the opportunities so as to scale new heights as an international center against the changing global landscape.
Specific measures include 1. Continue to open up the conventional markets and attract more international enterprises to list in Hong Kong. The proportion of listed companies from outside mainland China is rather low, so there is great room for improvement in this area because we are the second largest financial center in the world. So an important step is to attract more international enterprises to come list in Hong Kong. Now, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange will deepen collaboration with Southeast Asian countries and attract more enterprises from these places to engage in secondary listing in Hong Kong. This is a forward-looking measure. Investors favor investment in industries in which they are familiar with. Now, with enterprises coming, capital will also come. Attracting enterprises to come list in Hong Kong is much more attractive than attracting capital alone. So we should cast our eye further beyond Southeast Asian regions. We should aim at enterprises from Middle Eastern countries and Belt and Road places. We need to engage in negotiation to establish mutual listing mechanism and also a shortcut for listing in Hong Kong. This would enhance the efficiency of cross-boundary capital flow and also reduce the cost on listing. We need to reduce the time and compliance cost of foreign enterprises to list in Hong Kong. Second, we need to create more scenarios for digital application and consolidate our position as the largest offshore RMB hub in the world. Now, as the largest offshore RMB market, we have the largest RMB pool. We are also the largest RMB derivative market in the world. Now, the government will seek to use RMB to pay for government expenses when situation allows. Now, this will allow the broadening and deepening of the application of RMB, promote internationalization of RMB, and we should speed up the incorporation of RMB counters in our northbound stock exchange and create more channels for mainland enterprises to use RMB to settle trade deals. We need to create more scenarios for pilot use of RMB as a means of settlement and enhance the ecosystem. Now, we need to explore new digital channels for RMB settlements. We need to enhance the application of digital RMB or ECNY in terms of settlement. We need to also create a robust stablecoin ecosystem. Now, we need to continue to explore with mainland regulators the possibility to set up offshore future RMB markets to satisfy the needs of foreign investors to diversify risk by investing in RMB products. And also, we need to make Hong Kong into an international digital virtual asset center. Now, we need to regularize the issuance of tokenized products in Hong Kong and speed up the development of a robust ecosystem of virtual assets. Now, in terms of regulation and scenarios, the government can support the development of tokenized asset markets. First, providing taxation concession so as to lower the cost of enterprises to develop tokenized assets and products. Second, we need to promote the development of physical tokenized asset markets like new energy and green fuel. Now, lastly, we need to enhance the collaboration within the GBA to develop a digital asset ecosystem. In terms of regulation, standardization, and recognition, we need to establish a GBA virtual tokenized assets platform to create a demonstration zone of digital financing for the world. Now, lastly, we need to create a regional gold trading platform. Now, compared with the last year's policy address, this year the chief executive has more specific roadmap for developing a gold market in Hong Kong. The target is to develop a 200 and 2,000 ton large gold reserve in Hong Kong and to collaborate with more gold traders. This is a very strategic move. Now, the Development Bureau and the Hong Kong International Airport are collaborating to create an advanced gold warehouse in the international airport with high security. And also, the Hong Kong Gold Market Exchange will make reference to the London Gold Exchange in setting up a standard for gold trading in Hong Kong. Now, the government is also collaborating with the Guangdong provincial government to create a gold processing green channel so as to create facilitation in terms of mutual recognition and cross-boundary flow of gold. Now, the government will also step up efforts in fintech and innovative financing. Now, innovative fintech will support Hong Kong's economic development. The government has established the INT Development Fund to support leading enterprises to raise funds in Hong Kong to fund their property intelligence. Now, there are also other measures for developing AI and property intelligence up. And so I think we should have more financial products for supporting these aspects. We should make financing more flexible so as to leverage more resources to nurture leading enterprises and leading clusters in various industries. Now, we need to encourage financial institutions to develop more financial products. For example, diversified investment products combining equity and share. There should be a green financial investment corridor. Now, with the layout of innovation in the south and investment in the north, we should create new financial growth points in Hong Kong. Now, we need to organically integrate our position as International Financial Center and International Innovation Center to promote integrated and sustainable developments between finance and innovation. I shall submit. Mr. Chen Siu-Hong. Deputy President, in this session, I will focus on the development of the Northern Metropolis, innovation technology, and new energy. Now, the Northern Metropolis is a new growth point of Hong Kong. It is also a strategic growth point near Shenzhen. There's great potential. There will be a lot of job created, and Hong Kong's productivity will be greatly enhanced. Now, we have a roadmap for developing Northern Metropolis. It is a critical juncture for materializing the developments. The chief executive is deeply concerned and impatient. I, myself, am also very impatient. Now, I support the establishment of the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis. Now, with a scattered structure, I have been worried that the Northern Metropolis Development Office will not be able to coordinate the work. So I support the development of the new committee to be led by the chief executive. Secretaries of departments will be tasked to coordinate the efforts in developing Northern Metropolis. There will be exemption granted to development projects in the area. And also, there will be a government-run company to lead the work in raising funds for developing the industrial parks. Now, the chief executive will lead the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis, and there will be 3 working groups to be led by secretaries. The committee and the working groups will be responsible for devising development operation models, planning construction and of the university town, and on planning and development. The group will be responsible for removing barriers and speeding up approval. Dedicated legislations will be ready next year. These all show the chief executive's determination to speed up the development of the Northern Metropolis. Market power will be harnessed to unleash the potential of the Northern Metropolis to improve livelihood and the economy. Now, to support and promote our I&T development, the government has been actively developing the 3 I&T parks and the 5 research institutes. Now, I fully agree with this direction. At various stages of development, the government is investing huge amounts of money to make our ecosystem more robust. Now, the Science and Technology Park and the Hong Kong Shenzhen Science and Technology Park will be platforms for incubation. They will be a one-stop platform for supporting the growth of I&T industries. Now, there are a number of funding schemes for supporting I&T enterprises. I'm pleased to see that the government is streamlining the application under the I&T Development Fund. The Automobile Institute has been subsumed under the other research institutes. Now, besides, the government has rolled out the $10 billion I&T-oriented fund to steer market capital into emerging and strategic future industries. Now, besides consolidating public resources, we need to coordinate between public and private players. I'm pleased to see that the government will establish the Hong Kong AI Research and Development Institute to take the lead in coordinating resources across the market. I believe that the institutes will create exponential synergy between the players. Now, the government has the experience in leading the growth of various industries in Hong Kong. I hope the government will specify the positioning of the 3 research institutes soon and explore the possibility of interfering in more emerging industries. Now, the government will collaborate with the Guangdong provincial government to establish a green hydrogen corridor in the Bay Area. Hong Kong lacks the capacity to develop a green hydrogen corridor itself, so I support the government's strategy to create this corridor to meet the ever-increasing demand for hydrogen fuel. Now, when Hong Kong should play its role in certifying green hydrogen fuel, this will help promote Hong Kong into a demonstration zone for the country's hydrogen products. Now, the government will study the possibility to join the country's carbon markets, including setting a standard for voluntary carbon credits and also carbon trading. I support this move. We can leverage on our position as an international financial center to coordinate the formulation of a standard for carbon markets and promote Hong Kong to become a carbon trading center in the region. I so submit.
Ms. Eunice Yong. The international trade landscape has been changing. In this session, I will focus on attracting businesses and capital. I think there is a series of innovative measures in the policy address boosting our competitiveness. So I support these measures. I want to talk about promotion of halal accreditation, the Go Global Task Force, as well as another area. The Go Global Task Force is an important platform. China economy has been developing. A lot of enterprises would like to expand their businesses. They would like to make use of Hong Kong, which is very experienced. We have a very sound rule of law system, free market, free flow of capital. We have a number of advantages. Now there is this Go Global Task Force. We make use of the TDC mainland offices, Invest Hong Kong, and their offices to form a one-stop platform. I believe that this will make it easier for mainland enterprises to use Hong Kong. It's also said in the policy address that this task force will tailor-make proposals for enterprises covering expansion in markets as well as financial services. In the first half of next year, the government will complete its study on enhancing tax concession measures. I believe that it will be attractive to mainland enterprises setting up their wealth centers in Hong Kong. This will reduce risk. It will also bring opportunities to Hong Kong professional services. That includes law firms, accounting firms, as well as consultancies. This will be another growth area in Hong Kong. This will strengthen our status as a professional service hub in Asia. I believe that the task force will serve Hong Kong enterprises and mainland enterprises. It will create a healthy circle of development. In the policy address, we also see proposals about actively expanding Middle East as well as ASEAN markets. Is an important part. I support the initiatives. In July, there was a motion about expanding Hong Kong's growth areas. I proposed in the motion that, halal industry should be supported. I also released a report on the potential of Muslim markets. I asked the government to attach importance to these markets. I thank the government for taking on board my views and responding to them in the policy address. I point out that there is a population of over 2 billion in Muslim markets. It's a huge market. They have an increasingly high demand for various products. Fintech also provides new channels for financing for Muslim markets. We should not neglect this important market. Halal products have specifications. It's very important to do well in halal accreditation. Subsidy will be provided for restaurants to get accreditation for halal, and they'll get a maximum subsidy of $5,000. I think the program will attract more restaurants to get accreditation. This will also increase the number of halal restaurants. The government is expanding Muslim markets for tourism. For visitors to come, you will have to take care of the F&B. We're not just talking about tourism and food. It also covers cosmetics, finance, logistics, and various other areas. The government should reach more mutual recognition with Muslim countries so that various products and services of Hong Kong will tap into Muslim markets. The Go Global Task Force can also assist mainland enterprises to tap into Middle East markets. I expect more support from the government on accreditation, say for example streamlining procedures so that cost and time can be kept down. Whether it is the Go Global Task Force or expansion of Middle East markets, I think we need to leverage on our inherent advantage, which is one country, two systems. We need to continue to be involved in the Belt and Road initiatives. We have to continue to play our roles as a super connector and super facilitator. We need to become a bridge between mainland markets as well as Middle Eastern markets. This will be new opportunities for new industries and new business opportunities. Mr. Chan Pui Lang, I would like to focus on insurance. We have highest density in Asia and the second in the world. Penetration rate is high. The long-term development of the insurance sector is conducive to strengthening Hong Kong's status as an international financial center, as a risk management center. I thank the Chief Executive for proposing a number of measures in the policy address, say, for example, allowing insurance funding to be involved in infrastructure, encouraging the sector to expand the risk pool, the development of low altitude initiatives. This will be conducive to high-quality development of Hong Kong, and there will be plenty more opportunities for our sector. In the past 4 years, on different occasions in and out of the Council, I have been actively following up the development of the insurance sector. Say, for example, training of talents in maritime insurance, as well as risk pool for maritime businesses. The government and the insurance authority have been working on building a risk pool for maritime businesses. Expansion of maritime products and businesses is important to the development of high-quality maritime services. There are uncertainties in the external area. Maritime businesses are also vulnerable to attack in different areas. We need to keep the insurance premium in Hong Kong and make good use of it. We should try to save ourselves from we should also try to avoid restrictions from other markets. We need to strengthen the maritime insurance for Hong Kong. Apart from subsidy, tax concessions, I think the government can also do more in publicizing Hong Kong. They can also take the initiative to ask insurance companies to set up their regional headquarters in Hong Kong, and to get Hong Kong to take up more of their insurance businesses. To improve our attractiveness, I asked the government to talk to mainland ministries and commissions. We need to get policy support from our country so that Hong Kong companies can accept insurance of overseas companies. And allowing insurance companies to be involved in infrastructure financing. In the mainland, there is this approach has started. We have the Northern Metropolis. There will be a series of major infrastructure projects involving over 200 billion Hong Kong dollars. The policy address proposes that there will be legislative amendments to provide concessions. This will create an incentive for insurance companies to be involved in financing for infrastructure projects. The insurance of a large number of infrastructure projects are taken up by overseas companies. We want to keep the premium in Hong Kong. My suggestion to the government is that when it comes to tender exercises, clauses should be incorporated to state that if the company for the bid includes local insurance companies, there will be additional points added. I'm also concerned about healthcare insurance relating to people. Education and welfare accounts for the largest share of expenditure of government expenditure. I think there should be a review of the implementation of a voluntary healthcare scheme and enhance the transparency of charges by the private healthcare market. There should also be different products launched. I'm going to go into details in the fourth session. I thank the SAR government for listening to my views and implementing my proposals. The post-sale service of GB service of insurance businesses in GBA is still on the drawing board. I hope that will materialize so that those who are living and working in the GBA will receive better services. Mr. Rock Chen. Madam Deputy, there are a number of measures proposed in the policy address. I would like to talk about 3 areas: the Go Global Task Force and the One-Stop Platform. I thank the Chief Executive for accepting my suggestion on the 29th of May for building a one-stop platform to assist mainland enterprises to go global. That going global is the trend. Hong Kong has the condition to seize the opportunities. There are different organizations, say for example the TDC mainland offices as well as Invest Hong Kong's doing their respective work. However, there is no consolidated platform. Resources, as a result, is quite fragmented. In this policy address, there is the proposal of Go Global Task Force consolidating the work and resources of various offices. It will be under the coordination of the CEDB. The one-stop platform will enhance service efficiency. It will also make the process smooth. It is also conducive to grouping resources together to assist mainland enterprises of logistics, finance, banking sectors to tap into the opportunities because they help mainland enterprises to go global. The task force will also formulate diversified proposals tailor-made to the enterprises. This will attract more mainland enterprises to set up finance and wealth centers. The platform will also provide matching service. Professionals in Hong Kong will have the opportunity to provide professional services, identify resources, and find new markets for these enterprises. They can also help the enterprises build an international brand, tailor-made proposals for their expansion. Hong Kong will become the prime option for these enterprises. And there is the main board proposal as well as the weighted voting rights. This will attract companies to use Hong Kong as the secondary listing places or to be there for dual listing. I, together with Mr. Ronald Chen, worked on formulating a proposal. This is in line with what we have in mind. I thank the government officials for enhancing Hong Kong's listing regime. In our proposal, we have made 10 suggestions. That is the review of weighted voting rights, requirements of valuation. The current $40 billion will be adjusted to $20 billion. There will be a grace period to allow overseas listed companies to keep their weighted voting rights structure before they move to Hong Kong so that they will have more time to make preparations. Overseas companies applying for a dual listing can submit their applications in confidence. I do believe that these remove barriers for mainland as well as overseas companies to conduct financing in Hong Kong. And in relation to international gold market, given the tension from geopolitics, different parties realize that there is a heightened risk keeping their gold in the US or the UK. Hong Kong will be an alternative. When we have a central settlement and clearance center, it will reduce risk. China is one of the countries with the highest reserve. It's also one of the countries with the highest consumption level. However, their influence is not proportional to the volume of trade. So gold exchange, it has a strategic significance to our country. If we can foster an ecosystem to promote the use of gold as a clearance and settlement, this will be favorable to internationalization of RMB. It also helps us to try to get RMB as a currency in gold settlement. I think we have to do better in terms of coordination and complementarity. We can provide a system that aligns with the international community. Shanghai is the third largest gold exchange with a large capacity for storage and settlement. We need to deepen collaboration with mainland authorities and make good use of the advantages of Hong Kong and Shanghai in the gold market. We should work together to enhance our status and influence in the international gold market. This will be also a preparation for connectivity with other markets.
Next, I'd like to discuss yacht economy. We have a very long coastline, 1,180 kilometers, and also 283 islands. We have the prerequisites for the development of a yacht economy. Now, this year's policy address proposes to increase additional yacht berths by 600 and promote the development of a yacht bay with 500 yacht berths. There will also be improvements to the electronic immigration clearance system so that the visitors arriving can submit information to this one-stop platform. This can help attract more yachts and super yachts to come to Hong Kong. Now, Hong Kong can also provide various services such as repair, docking, etc. This can inject impetus to our economic development. Now, when it comes to an individual visit scheme for yachts coming from Guangdong and Macau, I'd say we can prioritize certain cities in the Greater Bay Area, such as Shenzhen, as the pilot. It can be further promoted to other mainland cities. There are over 240,000 families with pets, such as cats and dogs, at home. So there is a huge market for pets. Now, in this year's policy address, the government proposes to allow dogs to enter eateries. Now, this can help capture the opportunities for the development of a pet economy. I acknowledge this intention. However, we must also make sure that it is safe and hygiene. For example, for hot pot shops and barbecue shops, they are not suitable for being included in this policy measure on the premise of public safety and hygiene. Also, there should be a size requirement before such license is granted. If the restaurant is too small, it should not be given a license. In terms of promoting pet-friendly environment, we should take a phased approach having regard to overseas experience. We should start with, say, setting up pet areas in the outdoor sitting areas of restaurants and shopping malls so as to enhance the awareness of pet inclusion. And then when there is greater public acceptance and when we resolve the hygiene issues, we can further relax the rule to include indoor areas as well. In countries such as the US, France, and Germany, these restaurants in general allow pets. In South Korea, legislative amendments were proposed this year to allow pets to enter certain areas of the restaurant. In Taiwan, likewise, there is a segregated area for pets or for consumers with pets. Now, I've cited some examples, and this is the international experience from which we can draw reference. The government should also enhance publicity and public education on pet inclusiveness. Now, the patrons and their dogs should comply with the basic etiquettes and other hygiene requirements. We must not neglect the challenges. Now, Hong Kong is at a critical phase of transitioning from stability to prosperity. We're at a critical point. Now, this year's policy address focuses on economic development as well as improving people's livelihood. I'm sure that there'll be a brighter future for Hong Kong. I support the policy address. Mr. Ambrose Lam, Deputy President. Northern Metropolis is a major policy for this term of government. Before Hong Kong's return to the motherland, the British colonial government made major changes to the land-related legislation that caused the administrative procedures to become so cumbersome that land prices, along with property prices, soared. After Hong Kong's return to the motherland, the SAR government had found it difficult to identify sufficient land for housing so as to improve people's living environment. The government has proposed to establish the Committee on the Development of Northern Metropolis in this policy address. The committee will help streamline the land vetting procedures, and I support all these policy initiatives. I have 3 suggestions. First, on land in the new territories, ownership is a very complex issue. Now, there are ways to resume land through or acquire land through in situ land exchange. The government will also take forward a new approach, such as a large-scale land disposal, etc. However, at the same time, we must have regard to Article 40 of the Basic Law, and that is the legitimate rights of indigenous villages in the new territories will be safeguarded, and that involves some major illegal issues. The Department of Justice should engage Council on Fiat so as to help the SAR government solve this land issue as quickly as possible. Now, we also need to strike a balance between conservation and development when it comes to the Northern Metropolis. The Northern Metropolis is close to Mai Po and the Sanpo Shui wetland. It's also straddling the flight path of migratory birds. Now, there were issues surrounding conservation, leading to some judicial review cases. I'm happy to learn from the Secretary for Development in the panel meeting last week that for ecologically sensitive areas, after conducting the necessary assessments and going through the statutory procedures, we can still take forward development. The government should actively conserve the wetland. That we can also build restaurants near fish ponds and also so as to bring vibrancy to the wetland park and make it a tourist attraction. The next point is about green energy and the green industries. I support the development of these areas as well as promotion of carbon emission trading and ESG. That's all for me in this session. Ms. Carmen Kan. Well, I spoke in the last session, and in this session, I'd like to focus on economic development. The words have popped up 365 times in this year's policy address. Now, on Northern Metropolis, I am on board with the Chief Executive's statement that it accounts for 1/3 of the size of Hong Kong, and there should not be a there should be a statutory organization in charge of management and coordination. The Committee on the Development of Northern Metropolis will be established. It will be chaired by the Chief Executive so as to provide bespoke plans for different industrial parks and organizations. Again, with the strong support of our motherland, we should continue to invest in the future. We should build a land reserve. We should also provide different financing options to expedite the development of Northern Northern Metropolis. The FS will lead one of the working groups, and they will consider different options, such as the issuance of bonds, equity, and there will also be an initiative to allow insurers to invest in infrastructure development. We should leverage on market forces. Now, for the sites in Yaotamei and NT North Newtown, totaling 86 hectares of land, the development won't be completed until 2030. I mean, at least the site formation won't be completed until then. Meanwhile, we have 5 hectares of land in Hongshui-Q for education. Now, for the university town, a working group has been set up. Under the leadership of the chief executive, we should make bolder moves and achieve breakthroughs. For example, through enacting legislation, we can shorten the time for planning and vetting for site formation of certain sites. The chief executive has already reiterated a number of times that he's concerned about the pace of development of Northern Metropolis. We need to act quickly. It is important to join the race to compete for tech talents. We should expedite the development of Northern Metropolis. We should also leverage on the advantage and set up a pilot area for low altitude economy in the Greater Bay Area. Now, in relation to external direct investments, last year our country recorded a total volume of $190. That's 8% more comparing to 2023. Hong Kong plays a pivotal role in helping mainland enterprises go global, and we also I earlier moved a motion in this regard. And earlier, on the invitation of the Hong Kong International Legal Talents Academy, I gave a lecture at the Shanxi Training Center. I fully appreciated the mainland enterprises' demand for services in Hong Kong in going global. However, these enterprises may not know very well the professional services we offer in Hong Kong. The Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development will chair a task force called Go Global Task Force. Now, there is no representative of the Department of Justice in this task force, but I am sure that the task force will explain to the mainland enterprises what legal services we can provide. I'm sure that with the joint efforts of the secretaries, we'll be able to help mainland enterprises go global. The IOMED headquarters will be commissioned in early 2026 or before, and I welcome the commissioning of the headquarters. I think as well as the establishment of the Hong Kong International Legal Services Building. This will foster deeper collaboration with international organizations on the legal front. A green channel will be set up with the central authorities' support so as to expedite the vetting of applications by mainland enterprises to go global. And this can also provide an opportunity for us to explain our advantage as a place for regional headquarters. As for the latest global financial center index, in terms of international financial center, New York has scored 3 fewer points, whereas Hong Kong, we scored 4 more points. We have narrowed the gap with London from 9 points to 2 points, and we continue to rank the 3rd globally and the 2nd in APEC region. This is all due to our country's support. We have good interactions between the executive and the legislature. We should continue to make a joint effort to bolster our status as an international financial center. Now, I also note that the chief executive requires the financial regulators to fulfill their missions, such as the insurance authority. It will continue to actively develop catastrophic bonds. And as for captive insurance, likewise, the IA should continue to be the regulator. On life insurance, the Hong Kong MA has signed an agreement with the People's Bank of China to implement a new arrangement on financing to make renminbi international currency. For other financial regulators, they should also actively fulfill their missions so as to bolster our advantages. Now, the government should study different options with the mainland counterparts, such as suitably including the secondary listed companies in Hong Kong Stock Connect. There should also be the greater recognition for the exchanges on re-domiciliation regime so as to provide favorable conditions for multinational groups to redomicile to Hong Kong. We should also take forward the development of stable coin. I'm happy to see that the government has taken on board our suggestions in terms of digital assets and custodian service providers.
On green energy and sustainable environment, the government decided to suspend the implementation of the municipal solid waste charging scheme because of various pressures from various sides. But I hope that the government will continue to collaborate with the stakeholders to launch an alternative scheme. Now, in terms of housing ladder, I'm pleased to see that the government is striving to create more land and encouraging upward mobility of housing along the housing ladder. Now, I agree with the chief executive that it's not the best time to reactivate the tenant purchase scheme for public housing estates, but it is worth studying. Now, over the past 3 years, we have seen great improvements in various areas. We have returned to the top 3 in terms of world competitive rankings. Median household income has increased by 11%. Now, I look forward to seeing the government and the society to continue to reform itself and create a better future with the support of the country. The government should continue to prioritize people's livelihood. I so submit I support the motion of thanks. Mr. Kisson-Young, thank you, Deputy President. The 2025 policy address is pragmatic. The government is developing the economy with a new mindset and improve people's livelihood. It shows the government's determination. I thank the government for accepting the A4 Alliance's proposal, including elevating the development framework of the Northern Metropolis, enriching the housing ladder, pet-friendly policies, and using AI to enhance governance efficiency, diversifying tourism, and so on. Now, I commend this policy address, especially in terms of food, environmental hygiene, as well as pet-friendly economy. Now, we are an aging society. More and more people choose to keep pets instead of raising a child. They treat their pets as their own children, and it gives rise to a very vibrant pet economy. Now, the government is now granting license to allow pets to enter restaurants. Now, this is the first step to boost the pet economy. More work must be done, including in terms of pet feed safety, pet beauty industry, and also standard setting for pet hotels. Now, we have strengths in terms of food certification. We have the strength to promote certification standard for pet feed. So I hope the government would conduct a study on a certification framework for pet food. Now, pet care and pet hostel industry has been very popular. More and more pet owners are spending a lot of money in these industries, so we must grow the scale of this market. On the other hand, I'm pleased to see that the government is stepping in to tackle the long-standing issue of water seepage in buildings. In the past, the waiting time for a case to be handled can be as long as 3 years. Now, in the Whampoa Garden, there has been a litigation between a lawyer and another flat owner concerning water seepage. In the end, the lawyer has to seek help from a TV channel. Now, I support lowering the threshold of humidity to 35%. I also urge the Joint Office to start the investigation with infrared technology and microwave technology instead of using the color dye test. That would be more efficient. Then the joint office can also require the flat upstairs to take actions to tackle water seepage. It greatly speeds up the process, and it prevents the affected household from being affected by the water seepage problem. Now, I also support the establishment of an arbitration center for water seepage cases to avoid conflicts between households. Now, the joint office is now deploying infrared technology to detect water seepage from the household upstairs. Once the case is confirmed, a notice will be issued to the household. Now, if the notice is not being complied with, there will be phase 2 and phase 3 investigation, and the investigation cost will be recovered from the relevant household. This is a groundbreaking move. This will give the flat owner incentive to take the initiative to rectify the situation. Now, the community mediation pilot scheme, under the scheme, full-day training courses have been provided to 120 property management practitioners. Now, besides property managed staff, other stakeholders should also be involved. For example, care teams, district councillors, and other community stakeholders. By including them in the mediation scheme, more cases would be resolved. Now, concerning waste, in the policy briefing last week, the government said that the government would put the municipal solid waste charging scheme on hold for the time being. Many people, including owners' corporation in my constituency, and even residents in 3 new buildings, would support this move. This is a very pragmatic decision. The ever-increasing amounts of solid waste has been troubling society for a long time. Now, through publicity and education, the government has turned around the increasing trend of solid waste in landfill. The government has achieved its target of cutting waste at source. This is a very responsible decision. Now, in the future, there should be more recovery of kitchen waste or food waste in public housing estates. The government should also adopt a dynamic approach to establish smart compactors for food waste in shopping malls and other busy districts, so as to minimize the size of our waste and strengthen our recycling capability. I should submit I support the motion of thanks. I will speak later on as well. Mr. Martinelli. Deputy President, the Northern Metropolis is the engine of our economy's transformation. It is also a very much needed growth point for new developments. Now, I'm pleased to see that the government has accepted many of my proposals, including establishing an innovative framework to take forward the development of the Northern Metropolis. The Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis would be established with 3 working groups, and also overseas and mainland's innovative construction methods will be introduced. And also, favorable policy packages will be formulated to attract enterprises to move in. President, harnessing market force is the key to speed up the development of the Northern Metropolis. I support the removal of certain barriers. For example, introducing the innovative measures like provision of land as a form of capital participation and pay for what you build approach to allow developers to pay premium in phases according to the actual development. This will reduce the hurdle for private developers to participate in the development. Now, the government will also switch from the highest bidder wins to scenario-based development approach. Development plans will be required from the private developers so that the government can understand the relevant economic benefits and taxation revenue brought about by the project. Now, we all know that the main mission of the Northern Metropolis is to develop Hong Kong's INT industry to tie in with the country's strategy. Now, industry-led approach is correct, but we need to mobilize the markets to participate. Besides favorable land policies, we need to have leading developers to come in to take the lead. It will create a clustering effect and result in the upgrading of the industry chain. Now, there are proven successful cases. For example, the semiconductor industry led by Samsung in Korea, and also telecommunication cluster led by Huawei in Shenzhen. President, to attract enterprises to set foot in Northern Metropolis, we must understand what they need. They need more application scenarios for their products. I agree with the policy address that we need to pursue the scenario-based investment policies. We need to attract private participation by offering values. Now, we should support industries to expand the variety of application scenarios. There should also be a list of application scenarios to attract enterprises to invest in individual projects. Next, I would like to talk about AI development. Now, our INT strength lies in fundamental research capability from 0 to 1. Now, according to the State Council's opinion document on AI plus development, the country sets the goal of speeding up the development of AI-led scientific development. Now, unlike large language model like ChatGPT, AI large model combines AI and big data analytics. It can be used to analyze complicated climate data and find out how the universe came to be. Now, however, compared with large language model, it is still not very sophisticated. We have 5 top 100 world ranking universities. We have these strengths to contribute greatly in this realm. We can promote researchers to collaborate with AI experts and pursue diversified development. We can also nurture multi-skilled INT talents. Now, all along, application has been our shortcomings in terms of INT development. I agree with the policy address that we need to be application-oriented and pursue industrialization of AI. However, the policy address mainly focuses on the use of AI in governance. In terms of the business sector, the use of AI is mainly in our traditional fields like finance and legal services. Now, I hope the government can promote the use of AI in new industrialization. For example, using AI to identify the most suitable raw materials for production to avoid mistakes. Now, we must also make sure that our AI industry is closely related with the other industries. I so submit I support the motion of thanks. Mr. Duncan Chiu, President, under the leadership of the Chief Executive, Mr. John Lee, over the past few years, this term of the government has done a lot to strive for economic growth and improve people's livelihood. Clear directions have been laid, for example, AI development, Web3, and also life and health technology and new industrialization. INT is being adopted as a strategy to promote growth in Hong Kong. Now, the government has spared no effort in promoting INT development. They have listened to my constituents in terms of land provision, talents, and capital flow. Innovative measures have been implemented, for example, in the Northern Metropolis and the Technopole. Massive amounts of INT land have been provided. and also the $10 billion I&T industry-oriented fund to be launched, and also the new industrialization acceleration scheme implemented have provided financial support for I&T development. They have greatly supported the development of Hong Kong into an I&T center. And also it created a very good trend for development of the overall economy and the industry.
In this policy address, proposals from us have been adopted. That includes a development of aerospace industries, diversification of our economy, as well as enhancement of our competitiveness. There is the acceleration program supports to SMEs to make better use of AI and other technologies. In terms of digital education, the government will review subjects of certain the curriculum of certain subjects. In addition to these measures, the policy address has also talked about innovation and technology under different chapters. That includes application of AI and development. It is a forward-looking policy address. The government has restructured the ecosystem of I&T. They focus on the science parks as well as R&D institutions. It is conducive to development in upstream R&D. The promotion of IP transaction finance, professional services such as valuation are in the right direction. If we are to support our I&T and encourage the startups, we need to protect intellectual property. This is an important support. I expect the CDB and the IPD in their rollout of the IP sandbox, professionals will be engaged to assist the I&T industry to make use of IP for financing. This will be another channel for financing for SMEs. Valuation of IP can serve as a reference. It will also provide capital in R&D. In this way, R&D will be encouraged. But even with evaluation of patent, the next step is to realize the value. We need to encourage more enterprises to engage in M&A or patent assessment. Successful patent products can be launched overseas so that overseas markets know that we have good inventions and patents. That will encourage more mergers and acquisitions and IP endorsement. Major M&A transactions and IP transactions take place in the US and the UK. We need to tap into these markets using our products so that the value of Hong Kong products can be realized. Apart from sale, we also need to consider commercialization and turn the products into actual value. I hope that supporting measures will be launched so that when technology and products go global, there will be sufficient support. Biotech companies in the US are interested in the mainland market. There has been a number of mergers and acquisitions. For innovative medication companies, say Pfizer, GSK, they have gone through a lot of changes. When the number of licensing out cases has exceeded 50, amounting to 48 billion US dollars, which is equal to the transaction volume in 2024. The number of outside procurement has increased from 10% in 2020 to 31% in 2024. According to an investment company, it says that over 40% of relevant transactions involve U.S. pharmaceutical companies that are licensed or acquired by mainland companies. So with national policies and support, mainland enterprises succeeded. Apart from licensing out, creating our products is important as well. Can we use Hong Kong as a base for new drugs of the mainland for pilot use? Can we then launch the new products to the international market? This is a good way to tell good stories of Hong Kong and China. It also helps enterprises to go global. It's conducive to R&D development. The chief executive in the policy address talked about support to low-altitude economy as well as aerospace science. I have spoken to experts in these areas. I submitted a proposal in this regard. I made a number of suggestions. I urged the government to put in place a top-level design for planning. There should be a clear roadmap and goals set. There should be efforts made to get programs and projects as well as institutions from the mainland to come to Hong Kong. Support should be given to R&D institutions as well as universities to engage in deep-sea exploration projects. Efforts to be made to attract talents to come to Hong Kong. Efforts should be also made to get more national key laboratories to come to Hong Kong. That's the aspiration of the sectors. I asked the government to study the feasibility. There should be policies put in place to support national projects to be launched in Hong Kong. This dovetails with national strategies and development. In media interviews, I said that development of aerospace industry as well as aviation industry is not just about a profit. A lot of R&D projects are explorative in nature. We have capabilities. A number of institutes in Hong Kong have the ability to build satellites. But we have to seize the opportunities of low altitude orbit, low Earth orbit satellites. We want Hong Kong to play a more important role. We have to groom talents as well. I hope that the ITIB as well as the Education Bureau will work together. We need to get the public to understand that the industry will make contributions to the development of the human race. If we can get more national enterprises and projects to be based in Hong Kong, it will create an ecosystem. We'll be able to seize the opportunity, and it will also enhance our competitiveness. Well, there is the development of Web3 as well as digital economy. Our government has the determination to put in place a robust structure and a sound ecosystem. We are making advanced preparations. In addition to the policy statement in August this year, there is the bill related to stablecoin. The government's goal is that in relation to digital virtual assets, the digital assets transaction, there will be consultation. I have expressed my comments in relation to the licensing regime. I hope that the bill will be introduced to LegCo as soon as possible. The threshold for application for accelerated program is lowered from 300 million to 150 million. In addition to the threshold, perhaps the ceiling can be increased. For mega programs coming to Hong Kong, perhaps the ceiling can be raised to $1 billion. This will be an incentive for bigger projects to come to Hong Kong. The government also said that they will continue with the reform of charges and fees in the public sector. Maintaining quality is important as well. In addition to improving efficiency and quality, the government should also work on the data exchange. I'm a member of the Hospital Authority. In building the data, the government and the Hospital Authority have done a lot of work. In July, there was a bill on e-health. It stipulates that healthcare providers should upload important data to the system. However, there is still a large amount of primary healthcare data from RCHEs, RCHDs, care teams that have not been uploaded. Perhaps consideration can be made to have the data uploaded. A platform for real-time sharing should be put in place as well. On mental health, I asked the government to tackle this issue on two fronts. On the community level, the number of people who can handle cases should be increased. That includes social welfare workers, teachers. Professional training should be given to them because they are first liners. If they can identify cases, then they will be able to follow up on these cases. On pediatric psychiatric discipline, there should be designated nurses taking up certain duties of doctors. This will alleviate pressure. The integrated mental health center should have its function enhanced. More case managers should be trained so that they can handle minor cases and intervene early. There is also a tier system for professionals. I support that as well. The number of subsidized places for non-local students will be increased. Well, the initiatives relating to education are also conducive to grooming a pool of talent for innovation and technology. Relevant legislation on data security should be put in place. There should be update of legislation relating to cybersecurity. They will be conducive to the development of innovation and technology.
Dr. Sunny Tang. Thank you, President. The government in this policy address has proactively taken forward policy initiatives in relation to helping mainland enterprises go global. I'm in full support of these initiatives. On various occasions, I already gave my support. Since we are the most internationalized city in Asia, we also have unique advantages as a super value adder and a super connector. We should help mainland enterprises go global. We are on the 12th of September, the State Council convened a standing meeting in relation to improving comprehensive services for enterprises going global. This will provide support to enterprises going global to foster international cooperation. And against the backdrop of a tariff war, there is a greater need for Hong Kong to take up this road, as Hong Kong is the safe haven for them. We can, of course, bring more business opportunities to SMEs and the ecosystem in general. Well, this can also bring vibrancy to other relevant sectors such as retail, F&B, and also the property market. There will be new economic growth points that can benefit people. In June, I moved a members' motion in relation to Hong Kong's efforts to actively dovetail with our country's strategies in going global. We should build the 8 centers, and we provide internationalized professional services for SMEs to come and expand the business in Hong Kong before going global. We can help build their brands. I'm happy to have received a positive response and support from members. We've also made constructive suggestions to the government. Now, this year's policy address responds positively to our suggestions. I hope that the Go Global Task Force will make good use of the public bodies so as to take forward the job of going global. We'll also work with different clansmen associations and organizations, and that we should help different industries align with the mainland enterprises so that with more precision we can help attract the enterprises to come and expand the business in Hong Kong and overseas. I believe that if we're able to help just a small portion of the 50 million SMEs in the mainland to go global, this will provide great economic benefits to Hong Kong as well. Now, I'd say that the tariff war disrupts the global trade pattern. It also disrupts the garment and textile sector in Hong Kong. It has great impact on my business as well. So what's important is to make sure that enterprises are kept afloat and that the cash flow issues can be resolved. I thank the government for extending the moratorium arrangement for another year to help tide the industry over against the global uncertainties. Now, we should continue to monitor the situation and extend the principal holiday scheme if necessary. I also support further injection in the Bud Fund and expansion of the scope to aid emerging economies. As I understand, the government's books will be balanced very soon, and I hope that the threshold for Bud Fund can be lowered or can be expanded to cover applications under $300,000. On e-commerce, we need to broaden and deepen the efforts. That means we need to help enterprises tap new markets such as Belt and Road countries in the Middle East. And there will also be a consolidation of funds, including the Export Marketing Fund and Bud Fund. I hope that the Bud Fund can be expanded in scope on a par with that of the EMF so as to bring more business. On export credit, the policy address has announced more support for e-commerce businesses in Hong Kong. I think we're heading in the right direction. We should further help divert risks by extending the arrangement to the 10 countries in ASEAN to help solve the problem of lack of transparency in the credit purchase. Now, the fourth point is that the textile and garment industry has been promoting taking our production lines overseas and promoting our brands. Now, the tariff war has great impact on our sector. I'm happy to see that the government is providing more support through strengthening the overseas trade network. I hope the government will continue to leverage on this network so that through ETOs in other places we can build a stronger network, and we can also meet with other government units and trade associations. This can help us solve pain points. The textile industry is a traditional industry in Hong Kong. It enjoys advantages. It also has a rich history in Hong Kong. Now, in terms of production, the majority of processes do not take place in Hong Kong, but we are the major stakeholder in terms of application of I&T and upgrading and transformation. We help nurture or foster new quality productive forces. As our country's soft power continues to be enhanced, we can work on the front of fashion industry. Now, for 3 consecutive years, the policy address has given support to the Fashion Fest in Hong Kong, and this is good news for my sector. I thank the Chief Executive and the Bureau for the support. Last year, with the government's support, Fashion Fest became a major attraction in the global stage. We urge the government to continue to give support to this event, and that should be crossover between different industries such as the arts and culture sector, the entertainment, tourism industries, etc., so as to enhance the soft power of our country. This can also bring opportunities for retail, F&B, and other industries as well. We should also continue to enhance competitiveness. Under the NIAS, enhancement should be made so as to further expand the scheme. There should also be an express vetting arrangement with lower threshold so as to attract capital and help SMEs build smart production lines. The policy address also proposes to take forward the development of Northern Metropolis by easing restrictions and removing barriers. I fully appreciate the government's efforts. I hope that visionary planning can be put in place to promote industrial development. We need to act quickly, and we also need to keep costs down to maintain competitiveness. It is also necessary to groom talents. Now, I hope that more prestigious institutions can set up the presence in the university town of Northern Metropolis as quickly as possible. In a short term, we can encourage these institutions to rent office premises as school campuses in urban districts. In the long term, the university town should be built. On Hong Kong as an international shipping center, I thank the government for heeding the views of BPA and will continue to promote the development of the Hong Kong IA Dongguan Logistics Park. I hope the government will continue to be forward-looking in taking forward the Phase 2 study. The government should also conduct long-term planning so that through this center we can continue to foster more trading activities, especially in relation to high value-added items such as fresh produce, electronic products, vaccines, and pharmaceutical products, so as to generate more values through trading. Now, this is the closing year of the 14th five-year plan. It's also the year when we need to start planning for the 15th five-year plan. We'll continue to make a joint effort and support the government in dovetailing our strategies with the national strategies. I support the policy address. Mr. Adrian Ho. Well, this is a very comprehensive policy address. It also puts forward a number of policy initiatives that are groundbreaking to remove barriers and ease restrictions. The SAR government is responding fully to society's development needs and promoting long-term economic transformation of Hong Kong. I am happy to see that the Chief Executive has taken on board the BPA, the New People's Party suggestions such as the pet-friendly initiative. Well, subject to licensing conditions, pets will be allowed in restaurants. I support it. I hope that more will be done. In the past 30 years, due to public hygiene considerations, rigorous regulations are put in place, except for guide dogs for the blind or dogs that are required to perform statutory functions. No pets or animals are allowed restaurants, not even the outdoor dining areas. Now, it's very cumbersome to apply for exemptions. The sector is deterred. Now, with clear guidance, restaurants can apply for a license to accept patrons with pets. At the same time, whilst grasping the business opportunities, that we should consider the needs of pets. For example, where should we allow pets to move about? Should the restaurants be somewhere near the waterfront area, or should we restrict them to OSAs? I hope that the SAR government can remove all obstacles so as to create a more pet-friendly establishments. We have 240,000 households with pets, including pets and dogs. So we're talking about some 400,000 people in Hong Kong that have pets. Now, this is a big economy covering pet food, insurance, grooming. There are opportunities for rolling out different services. Take myself as an example. I splurge on anything related to pets every year. So we must not neglect the potential of developing the pet economy. At the moment, the government considers pet from the economic perspective. At the same time, I think we need to be clear. If we want to make Hong Kong a pet-friendly city, we should not just confine ourselves to allowing patrons to bring their dogs in restaurants. We should comprehensively enhance the various services to support the pet economy, while striking a balance between that and the public acceptance. For example, in order to promote the development of the industry, we need to be mindful about the service quality of healthcare for pets as well as the number of vets. There are over 400,000 people keeping dogs and cats in Hong Kong, but only 1,000 vets are registered in Hong Kong according to the VSB. These vets, surgeons charge really expensive fees, and according to animal rescue groups, every month they pay close to $600,000 to $700,000 for medical fees for 20 rescues. There are also the so-called blacklist of vet surgeons circulating on the internet, misdiagnosis, and other problems. I also had some unhappy experience, so I feel deeply about this issue. In terms of services provided by clinics and vets, the charges vary. The service quality likewise vary. There is also the issue of people abandoning the pets. In order to develop the pet economy, the government should address these shortcomings. A regulatory framework should be put in place to monitor the service quality and charges of vets. We also need to keep an eye on those who would exploit the system and practice illegal breeding of pets. So the government should step up its efforts in monitoring these illegal breeding farms to protect the health of animals and their welfare. More should be done to combat illegal breeding and trading of pets. We should also enhance public education so as to remind people to be responsible owners, and that people should adopt rather than buy pets. This will reduce the risk of pets being abandoned. I believe with a joint effort we can tap this new growth area called pet economy. We are a metropolis. We should make Hong Kong a pet-friendly city.
Mr. Jeffrey Lam, thank you, President. Faced with intense geopolitical tension and treacherous geopolitical and economic landscape, we need to break new ground and enhance our competitiveness to continue to improve our economy and people's livelihood. Now, the Chief Executive mentioned that this policy address focuses on the two main themes, that is, livelihood and economy. They are closely related. Now, with the global economic transformation, Hong Kong is also under a transformative period. The Northern Metropolis is our new growth engine. We need to implement the development projects as soon as possible. Now, the policy address announced the establishment of the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis, led by the Chief Executive and the 3 working groups. It shows that the Chief Executive is really serious on speeding up the development of the Northern Metropolis and continuously improving the economy. We need to create new industries and break new grounds for our economy, but that needs a lot of land. Land is a scarce resource in Hong Kong. This is a great hurdle for development of industries. While the Northern Metropolis can provide sufficient land for the future development of our economy and industries, with land resources available, we need to consider how we can implement the industrialization policies mentioned in the policy address. We need to develop emerging industries and attract investments to create new pathway for our economy. We have to be flexible and meet investors' needs to attract them to come to Hong Kong. We can't let ourselves bogged down by our prohibitive land and manpower cost. Otherwise, this would be a stumbling block for our policies. For enterprises who would like to invest in Hong Kong, especially in the Northern Metropolis, we can't drive a harsh bargain with them. We need to give them favorable policies. Every place is trawling for investment. If we still stick to the highest bidder wins policy, potential candidates will be attracted to other places. Now, I'm pleased to see that the government will study migrating from the highest bidder wins policy to industry-oriented and double-envelope development approach. With a multi-pronged development approach, including in-situ land swap and large-scale land disposal, the government will grant land use application flexibly. Public tender will be held under innovative approaches like open tender or restricted tender to attract the private developers to participate. Now, these policies will attract potential investors to establish a presence in the Northern Metropolis. I believe that we can even offer lower than prevailing rate premium to private developers. The government can just charge the developers a nominal fee as an incentive. It will show that we are sincere in attracting capitals and investments. These are actually common practices, as shown in Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the industrial parks. In the mainland, favorable rent concessions have been offered to large enterprises. Now, concerning making concession to developers, we should be generous. The entrance into the Northern Metropolis will not only create large economic benefits in terms of job opportunities and tax revenue, More importantly, with the establishment of industries in the Northern Metropolis, we can brandish the brand of Northern Metropolis and consolidate our international position. So I fully support the favorable policy packages announced in the policy address covering land approval, tax concession, and financial subsidy. I hope that these favorable policies will prove to be effective. Now, with these good policies, we hope that the officials responsible for implementing the policy will also be flexible. Otherwise, we will be turning potential investors away. Now, in terms of talent apartments and dormitories for the workers, if you look at the existing industrial parks, for example, the Science and Technology Park and the Inno Park in Yuen Long, there are various restrictive conditions. Investors need to meet certain eligibility criteria, and the land premium is prohibitive. So in terms of the development of the Northern Metropolis, not only do we have to implement the infrastructure-led policy, in terms of land approval, we need to be flexible in setting conditions. I support the government to introduce dedicated legislation for speeding up the development of Northern Metropolis. These must be flexible regulations for unleashing the potential of the Northern Metropolis as soon as possible. President, next I would like to move on to other industries. Now, Hong Kong is the leading international maritime center. The central government has been supporting Hong Kong to develop and consolidate our position as an international maritime and shipping center. We have been given clear positioning and development strategies. I'm pleased to see that the policy address has announced quite a number of specific measures with a vision. Our ports and our airports have been our economic lifeline. However, we are faced with competition from our neighboring cities. There is also the more and more stringent requirements on carbon neutrality. We must speed up the transformation to green fuel for our airports and our maritime industry so as to consolidate our competitiveness. Now, the International Maritime Organization has set the targets to achieve zero carbon for international maritime industry by 2050. It shows that the demand for green maritime fuel will be greatly increased in the future. Now, we are the 7th largest maritime bunkering port in the world. Now, under one country, two systems, we have the advantage to develop into a green fuel bunkering system and a carbon trading center. Now, if we can establish a foothold in these emerging areas quicker than others, we can consolidate our positions. The policy address also mentioned that Hong Kong will focus on developing green methanol and green ammonia fuels. Now, from next year on, a meter for green ammonia will have to be installed for any OGVs going through Hong Kong. Now, these targets are clear waymarks for investors in the industry. Now, in recent years, we have obtained glorious results in our development of the green maritime fuel industry. Now, in the future, we must ensure that we have access to stable and cost-effective green maritime fuel. Now, I hope that we will see the promulgation of the development blueprints for green fuel energy soon, so that there are short, medium, and long-term targets for the usage of green fuel. Especially, we need to set up a mandatory ratio for using green fuel in our airports and our ports. The government should also provide subsidies for local airlines and shipping liners to switch to green fuel and sustainable aviation fuel. The government can also coordinate the academia and the industry to develop green hydrogen storage and application technologies. Of course, we also need the construction of dedicated storage facilities for green maritime fuel to attract OGVs to bunker in Hong Kong. Now, I would like to switch to tourism. Now, I thank the government for accepting the BPA's proposal to develop a yacht economy. Some 600 more yacht berthing spaces will be added in Hong Kong across the territory. And also, as the airport city, there will be 500 more berthing space for yachts. It will help meet the need of high-end yacht travelers. Now, this is a new area of tourism involving the CSTB, the Development Bureau, and also the Marine Department. There should be more coordination between the bureaus and departments. We need to enhance the infrastructure facility for landing facilities are used by yacht travelers, which also provide convenient customs clearance services to yacht travelers. Now, finally, I urge the governments to continue to promote mega events economy and strive to have more international conferences, exhibitions, and sports and cultural events to be held in Hong Kong to attract more high-end commercial travelers to Hong Kong. With the support of the country and our connection with the world, Hong Kong can definitely scale new heights and consolidate our positions as the 8th centers in the world and contribute to the country's development. I support the Policy Address 2025. Council is suspended until 9 a.m. tomorrow.